April air. Feel good inside. By State Farm, it pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by Panera Bread. Panera gift cards are perfect for everyone on your list. Haymarket District, vibrant per usual. Beautiful skating rink, located not too far, just about a block or so away from Pinnacle Bank Arena. And it starting lineups being introduced and wrapping up. And this Huskers fan base seeking revenge against the Creighton team. Nebraska has not defeated Creighton in more than 3 years. A year ago, Creighton won with the the Huskers with that big banner in the student section right beyond the respective benches going to inspire their team here tonight. And it's been a tough place for the opposing team, Matt, to win. Nebraska's 18-1, so on in the last year and a half.
Right, and the Creighton players hadn't seen Pinnacle Bank Arena until today. They showed up and had some shots go up in the last couple hours. Actually, Coach McDermott hadn't been here either, and so kind of a new arena for Creighton today.
Take a look at sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. For Creighton, one notable change. Zach Hansen will make his first career start. That means that Will Artino, the senior from Milwaukee, Iowa, is going to be on the bench. Austin Chapman making his 80th consecutive start. Once again, Benny Parker at point for the fourth straight game. Hansen in blue, Pitchford in white. And the opening tap controlled by Parker and the Huskers under.
Creighton starts off in a man-to-man defense. Nebraska expects them to really make jumpers on them tonight. You'll see a lot of ball screens. You should see Creighton go under those ball screens and make Nebraska make jumpers.
Shields will spin, kicks it out. Pitchford for three. And the rebound run down by Dingman. Pitchford's shooting has been off here at the onset of the 2014-15 campaign. Come conference play, Matt, he's got to find that touch from beyond the arc.
Yes, he does. It's going to be big for Nebraska. The Huskers defense and Benny Parker all over Austin Chapman, the guy that really makes the offense go for Creighton.
And this will go the other way. And I believe they got Hansen.
And that's where Nebraska wants to be defensively. Keep Creighton in the try to make them use Nebraska's size and score over Nebraska's size with their guards.
So series history, 48th all-time meeting. The home team has won 8 of the last 9. 3 straight by the Blue Jays. David Rivers game along the baseline for Rivers.
Rivers is a senior and a guy that has really developed that part of his game, the mid-range jumper.
Senior from Little Rock, Arkansas, coming off a 5-point, 6-rebound game Monday night. As the Huskers. Toby Hegner, redshirt freshman. And now Chapman must play big tonight for Creighton to win. Brooks off a Hansen screen. Skips it right. Shot clock is under. Brooks around Pettaway. Contact, no whistle. Hansen tried for the tap. Knocked out. Last touch by Creighton.
Exactly the start that Nebraska wanted defensively. Make Creighton play in the half court. Nebraska has more size on with their guards and get out in the open court. Creighton is going to want to grab the ball out of the net on makes and on misses. They're definitely going to push the ball and try to get easy buckets in transition or open threes in transition.
Here's Parker running point. Feeds Pettaway his first shot. Comes down to Chapman. The guards rebound often for Creighton. Chapman and Brooks. Hansen over Pitchford. Can't hit. Pettaway the rebound.
Good contest down there on the block. One of those shots, Corey, that when it goes up, you say, I don't know if that's a great shot, but bang, it goes in for Nebraska, and that gets the crowd up.
And it gets Pettaway fired up. Omaha, the Blue Jays, they ran Nebraska out of the gym before they even broke a sweat. Creighton down 5 early. Hegner short of the 3 try. Hansen had the rebound, swatted away. Here's Shields. pull it back and reset.
That's that basketball IQ that we talked about at the top of the broadcast. Is Siobhan is not going to take a bad shot.
Shields will fake. He'll drive baseline and try to dunk it down, but good defense on the weak side by number.
Great block by Hegner at the rim.
Parker just all over Chapman. Brooks around Petaway. Maybe got away with a step. No, he didn't. Brooks walks. Doesn't like the call. It's Nebraska basketball.
Petaway comes down, not on the initial break, but kind of the secondary break, and takes a shot, a contested three, and knocked it down. And he's a guy that if he gets on a roll, he'll shoot a bunch in a row if he gets heated up.
Yeah, a year ago, this ball game, this rivalry ended up with Petaway in the locker room and Grant Gibbs for Creighton in the locker room. Both got ejected, assessed flagrant 2 fouls with over a minute to play. And this is going to go the other way. A foul away from the ball on Nebraska.
So we've seen an illegal screen on both ends, and both of these offenses like to run a lot of ball screens, and the officials out of the gate here have said, we're not going to allow it.
Foul was on Pitchford, his first.
You better be set if you're going to set a ball screen.
Creighton 0 for 3 so far from the field. Look at Parker picking up Chapman all the way, in trouble in a double team, but passes out of it. Hegner another three-point try. That's short. Artino in, got the rebound, but he was out of bounds. So Artino in for Creighton. Isaiah Zierden also checking in for Greg McDermott and the Bluejays, who come in 6-2. And speaking of subs, you see the transfer from Cal. Before that, Missouri, Ricky Kreklow. And Hegner will sit.
Benny Parker on Austin Chapman. That's a key matchup here tonight. That's Nebraska's defensive stopper, and Chapman is the guy that Creighton really wants to get going.
Petaway lost his feet, and Zierden the rebound. Here comes Chapman racing all the way. It was blocked, and nope, they're going to count it. Goaltending. Goaltending was called by Pat Driscoll. Pitchford was chasing. Chapman was off for the races. The 2 will count for Creighton. 5-2 early on. Miles on the floor. It's out early. Play in the opening half. 5-2 Nebraska. Let's go back, Matt, to the controversial first Creighton bucket.
Well, and he already has 1 foul, so he runs back to try to block the shot from Chapman. They don't call a foul, but they count the bucket on a goaltend. I don't know about that one. Looked to me like the ball was still out beyond the cylinder and didn't appear to be coming down into the basket. I think that had to make sure to not foul and get his second quick one, and he would have been on the bench. So good hustle, but they count the basket.
That play is not reviewable. Tim Miles was fortunate not to get a technical foul. He came out to about the free throw line to argue that goaltending call. Handed to Miles. So we play on. 5-2 game. Shields will drive. That leaves Parker open for 3. Oh, but he was out of bounds. So Nebraska, as he was on the end line, it's back to Creighton.
Let's see how open Parker was there in the corner. Creighton isn't going to be worried about him. They're going to try to take away the the driving angles from Teran Petaway and Siobhan Shields and leave Parker out there to shoot it.
Parker just 2 for 7. Zierden, Creighton's leading scorer. He comes off the bench, and now Artino. Good defense by Pitchford. Artino trying to create space, and he walked.
Down there on the block with Walter Pitchford. Nowhere really for Artino to go with the basketball, and you can see the pivot foot there move about 6 inches, and they get him with the travel.
So 4 turnovers on Creighton, second on Artino.
Nebraska now offensively. They try to go to Siobhan Shields on the last possession.
First step from Parker got around Creighton defenders and laid it off the glass and in.
Get the bucket. Creighton does a good job of not fouling on defense.
Chapman, he'll try for 3, knocks it down. Chapman's got all 5 of Creighton's points here tonight. 2-point game.
Great shot in rhythm. A good pass to find him out there on the wing.
Chapman really has stepped up, a leader of his team. I thought Greg McDermott put it best for the game tonight, saying he had that in him, but there were so many other players that had that role. They're not going to just rush that leadership label on him as the Huskers give it back to Creighton.
It was Parker going to the basket. Not known for scoring on the offensive end, but he understands that Creighton is going to be all over Siobhan Shields and Teran Bedaway. At the other end, a big three right in front of the Nebraska bench for Chapman.
Chapman coming off the 19 points assist game. Creighton losing Wednesday in Tulsa.
Coach McDermott so good in the half court at finding shots. As Webster steps in there, knocks the pass out of bounds, but he's so good in the half court, running different sets, getting shots. Obviously, a year ago, he had with Doug and with Rocky. Grant Gibbs, obviously a great player. Manigat. So he has a lot of sets and a lot of plays that Nebraska's going to have to defend in the half court tonight.
Parker will sit number 11 for Nebraska, Terrence Smith, who played some big minutes to the win Monday State. It's not for the first time for Nebraska. He can run some point as well for the Huskers. As Chapman lost it, Rivers got his hand in there, and now Smith will push. Here's Shields off the crossover. Reckler. Now they swing it back around to Smith.
Job by Creighton to get back there off the turnover. Could have been an easy bucket the other way, but they run back on defense and don't allow an easy bucket for Nebraska.
Shields. Smith with 12. Now Webster. That's a deep. Rebound comes down to Nebraska's Moses Abraham, and he will shoot two.
Webster comes off the bench and really struggled a little bit on offense this year. The other end, Chapman drives into 4 Nebraska defenders there, and it's Rivers who's able to come up with a steal. So an air ball off the backboard for Webster, but Moses Abraham there to get the offensive board and get another possession for Nebraska.
Correct myself, Abraham was fouled before the shot. Here's Petaway for 3. Knocks down his second tonight.
Nice play called from the bench there from Tim Miles. He takes the ball out of bounds, and Teran Bedaway steps into the corner, gets a screen, and knocks down a 3.
Bedaway averaging 21 per game, and Krecklow throws it away. Forced that pass to Hansen.
See the screen, throws it into Siobhan Shields, gets the screen, and Bedaway now with 2 triples here in the first 7 minutes of the game.
Teran Bedaway double figures, scoring in 17 straight, well on his way to making it 18 here tonight. Bedaway gets the handoff from Abraham. This will be a 2. Bedaway, he's got it going early, and that's dangerous for the team in blue.
Nice pump fake. Puts the ball on the deck a couple of times and hits the mid-range jumper.
What a pass inside to Hansen. How about that luck from Chapman?
Beautiful. I don't know how that got through there. What a pass by Chapman.
The senior Chapman from the Colony, Texas, feeds the sophomore from Pierre, South Dakota, Hansen. Great play. Abraham, transfer from Georgetown, sets the screen for Petaway. Can't hit this 3, and the rebound comes down to James Milliken.
This is where Creighton wants to be. Grab a miss, push it, try to get something initially.
Milliken has it rejected by Petaway, and it's last touch by the Huskers. So Milliken trying to rise. Petaway answered defensively.
Look at this pass from Chapman. Great vision, and then great ability to be able to whip the ball. Not a typical pass. Put everything into that one, and a good catch and dunk.
Ty Webster on the other end. He knew that he got beat, that Hansen just kept creeping to the basket, receiving that pass. Zierden's been quiet so far tonight. Too strong off the glass. Abraham, good position inside.
That's not really where Zierden wants to be. He's best shooting threes.
Now Webster will slow it down.
This is where a guy like Siobhan Shields does a lot for this basketball team. He hasn't forced a shot yet. There's one.
Petaway, his third 3 tonight. He's got 11.
Speaking of not forcing a shot.
And Chapman fouled. So Creighton will have it when we come back. Nebraska 15 points so far tonight. Petaway responsible for 11 of them. He's got 3 threes. Teran Petaway feeling it early. Huskers lead 15-7. Opening opening half here in Lincoln, Nebraska 15, Creighton 7. Capacity crowd here tonight among those in attendance. Huge Husker fan sitting courtside, getting it done. Larry the Cable Guy getting it done. Came over, shook his hand before the game.
Supporting the Mohawk. Of course, the Nebraska N around his neck. He needs to shave it a little bit. Shave the face, Larry.
Take a look at our State Farm state of success and focusing on last year's Big Ten leading scorer, Teran Petaway, and see named in the Naismith Trophy watch list. No surprise there.
Well, he's a guy that has so much talent, and when he gets hot like he's come out of the gates tonight, he can have a big night.
He's got 11 of the first 15, including 3 threes.
Nebraska's defense has been solid to start this game, forcing 6 turnovers already.
Nice quick first step from Devin Brooks.
That's a nice finish. Nebraska defense really pushing out, trying to create a lot of pressure on the ball. That was a good, strong take and finish with the left.
Senior from Harlem, transferred from Iowa Western Community College a year ago. And Creighton for the first time. He is a quick player, that first step that we just saw, but he can be turnover prone. Pitchford for 3 from the corner. And the tap is up and in. How about that?
I don't know if Ty Webster touched the ball or not, but he will get credit for the putback, if you want to call it that.
Hegner was there boxing out. There was Webster trying to keep it alive, and sure enough, fell in.
Creighton really good in the half court here. Setting ball screens, sometimes coming off double screens. They get a lot of good shots for their shooters.
Shot clock is under 10, and Creighton throws it away. That's the 7th Blue Jay turnover as we look at Greg McDermott. 5th year in Omaha. What a job he has done. So many wins, 113 wins now in 4+ seasons, and he's undefeated lifetime against his good friend and counterpart tonight, Tim Miles. He's 10-0.
10-0. You know, Coach Miles doesn't like that. He's trying to put an end to that here tonight.
It goes back to when McDermott was at Wayne State. Miles was at Southwest Minnesota State, Iowa State, North Dakota State, and a couple of wins so far. Creighton against Nebraska.
Yeah, these two guys know each other really well.
There's Webster for 3, too strong. And Hansen, Pitchford battling, and last touch by Hansen.
Webster, another one of those players that Coach McDermott has said this week he's going to leave him open out there and just kind of tempt those guys to take shots. Benny Parker, Ty Webster, and really pack the lane to try to take those driving angles away from Petaway and Siobhan Shields.
And you see inside, Pat Driscoll is going to hold up play as Hegner and Pitchford trying to establish position, but they're going to be separated, and David Rivers in there as well. And as we mentioned earlier, Matt, this was a chippy game a year ago.
The players know each other well. The fan bases, obviously, there's a lot going on there. It's a complicated deal sometimes.
Aaron Smith just out leaping Brooks to grab that inbounds pass.
Last year it was Grant Gibbs, and the man with the ball, Teran Petaway, got a little chippy there in the second half. And, of course, there were a lot of emotions in that one because of the score.
Smith, the rebound, the lead for Pitchford. Hegner, the block. Pitchford got it back. Can't get the roll. Hansen clears, and Chapman spins. Blue Jays have numbers. Zierden fakes once. He pops now. Can't hit. The tap out. And Zierden has it, and Creighton will slow it down.
Another opportunity. A wide open 3 for Zierden. A good job getting that shot.
And Brooks, realizing he had a mismatch there, had Rivers out high, try to beat him, and sure enough, Rivers picks up the foul. But go back to the meeting last year, about a minute and change to go. We'll see that momentarily, but boy, Creighton came out on fire. Rogge, McDermott, you name it. It was 38-8 at one point in the game. And then with about a minute 15 to play, keep an eye on the free throw lane. You see Gibbs, number 10, and Petaway. For the Huskers, both assessed flagrant 2 fouls. Both were ejected. What turned out to be an 82-67 Blue Jay win.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with the score. 38-8, as you said. It was 51-25 at halftime.
Hegner can't hit the open 3, and it's out of bounds. Last touch by Nebraska.
And so this will be the 3rd opportunity on this trip for Creighton.
Creighton now 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. As Artino sets the screen for Chapman. Extra pass. Brooks open for 3. Pitch for the rebound.
Another open 3 for Creighton, so they're running their offense, getting good shots. Not many have fallen.
A year ago, Creighton, with all those weapons, led the country in three-point field goals made. As a foul is called on the Blue Jays.
They were so explosive last year, Corey. They have the best player in the country, Doug McDermott, and a whole bunch of other guys that could really shoot it. And that was a good job of just drawing the foul there by Turan Petaway. Creighton fans won't like that call.
Hegner, the foul, is first team's 3rd. Pitchford will pop. That's a deep 2. And Shields got the rebound. Chapman had position. But Shields in trouble and finds the outlet man Parker. Petaway in traffic. Forced that one, but a foul.
So it starts with the offensive rebound. Shields on the backside, able to come up with the offensive board. They swing it around the perimeter. Shields drives it to the left. Looked like there was contact on the wrist. Artino gets called for the foul.
14 fouls. So here is Turan Petaway at the free throw line. A terrific free throw shooter a year ago, but not so much so far this year, as he was short on that one.
It was nearly an air ball.
This is Abraham back in, and Walter Pitchford will depart.
Talk about shooting free throws, and Creighton has a stat that you won't see from very many teams across the country. They've made more free throws than their opponents have attempted. And so they do a great job of not fouling, and they do a good job of getting to the line. That hasn't been the case yet here this evening.
Parker picks up Chapman right away. Swing it around. Here's Dingman for 3. Knocks it down. One of 5 seniors, Avery Dingman, missed the first 5 games this year with an ankle injury. And he buries his first 3 tonight.
Swung the ball all the way around the perimeter there and got the open 3.
Petaway draws attention and throws it away. Pass off the mark for Shields. And we'll step aside.
Creighton starts the ball on the right side of the floor and swing it around to the left, and Dingman knocks down the 3.
This is the half for the State Farm halftime report. Football bowl preview coming up. BTN basketball presented by April Air coming up Tuesday. Rutgers against New Hampshire in Piscataway. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, presented by April Air on BTN and BTN to go. Six-point game. Blue Jays with the ball, and Chapman fouled on the hand check. This will be on Parker. That's his first and the 4th team foul. As Tim Miles looks on, 3rd year, 39 and 32. A year ago was voted the Big Ten Coach of the Year. Chosen by his peers in the conference.
That has done a lot for Nebraska basketball in a short amount of time. Getting this team to the tournament a year ago when nobody really saw that coming before the season started.
Deep 3 short from Chapman. The rebound to Rivers.
Another missed 3 and a pretty good look for Creighton.
There's Parker, the bounce to Shields along the baseline, shovels it to Abraham. Shields really created that along the baseline, Matt.
He just does a great job when the ball's in his hands, not forcing it. Got to the baseline there, drew an extra defender, and dumped it off. Creighton over the years has done a great job on the defensive end against Nebraska.
Tough pass to handle for Hansen, and he and Abraham tied up. And a jump ball. It will stay with Creighton. 6:44 to go. Coming up at the half. Stick around for the State Farm halftime report. Football bowl preview. Come up at the half from Chicago, and some bowl news. Nebraska going to the Holiday Bowl on December 27th. Take on USC.
Yeah, it'll be a great matchup for Nebraska. Big-time opponent. USC and Mike Riley will be there, the new football coach for Nebraska. He will not be coaching that game, but will be there obviously observing and looking at the players he'll be coaching next fall.
Here's a three from Shields off the mark, and Brooks in traffic skies for the rebound.
This is where Creighton's at their best. They get a long miss from Shields. And Brooks had a good look there in transition and missed it. But that's how Creighton wants to play. They want to play fast, up and down, smaller guards who like to run the floor, get easy buckets.
I think that Greg McDermott would have a problem with that shot. Going back to the Tulsa game as Rivers launches. That's a two. Another mid-range shot there from Rivers, but going back to Creighton's game against Tulsa, Greg McDermott felt his team was maybe too passive, that they were forcing the extra pass and did not take the best shot.
I think he was fine with that last shot, and they're a fortunate play by Nebraska as there was a loose ball. Chapman's going to get called for the foul. This is how Nebraska wants to play here. Get the ball to the baseline to David Rivers, and that's a shot he can make. They're in the mid-range, 17, 18 feet. He's hit 2 of them so far tonight.
That was a year ago this time. Rivers really wasn't seeing much playing time. He was on the bench. He was struggling with the rebounding part of his game.
He's really added a lot to this program. He started playing a lot last year. He's a selfless guy, plays great defense. He knows where to be defensively. He's not a guy that cares how many shots he gets. He and Benny Parker are kind of the glue guys that do all the little things for Nebraska's team.
Rivers again, and knocks it down. Rivers has 6 points. 10-point game.
Just a bonus for Nebraska's offense when they get points out of Rivers or Parker.
And the vault is loud. Martino. Rivers knocked it away. Petaway will pop from deep. And Artino the rebound.
It's one of those shots that you watch as a fan and you say, what is he doing? But that would have brought the house down. And great play at the other end by Chapman to take the miss from Turan Petaway at one end, go all the way to the other end for the layup.
Chapman now with 7.
Go, man. Come on.
Nebraska hasn't scored 30 points in the first half against Creighton since 2002. So Creighton typically does a good job defensively against Nebraska. See Petaway get into the lane, and another kick, and a pretty good contest out there, but Rivers able to knock down another open look from about 18 feet.
As Petaway comes out, Rivers. That one is short. Brooks had position and tapped it to Chapman. First miss from Rivers tonight. There's Brooks. Bounce to Artino over Pitchford. Can't hit with the left hand.
It was good offense, though. A couple good passes and a good look for Artino down on the block.
Step back 2 from Pitchford. And Artino clears. 4 to play, 8-point game. Krecklow from the corner for 3. Ricky Krecklow, the senior from Columbia, Missouri, had a chance to take a scholarship this year with Nebraska. Said, forget that, my graduate year, I'm going to Creighton as a walk-on. And a moment ago, first make from Krecklow from beyond the arc tonight.
Little dribble drive and a kick to the corner, and Krecklow hits the 3. Nebraska had a 10-point lead at 24-14, but Creighton responds with a layup from Chapman and then a 3 from Krecklow, and back to a 5-point game.
Think about that missed 3, right, Matt? Petaway makes that double-digit lead. The miss and 5 quick points from the Blue Jays.
Petaway goes to the bench now. Coach Miles brings in Ty Webster.
Parker, tough shot, drew some contact, no whistle. Hanson the rebound. Here come the Blue Jays with momentum. Chapman will fake. He'll pull up outside the lane and knocks it down. And the Blue Jays make this a 1-possession game.
3 buckets in a row. And they come off Nebraska misses where Creighton can grab it, push it, and put a lot of pressure on Nebraska's defense.
Webster backs it out.
Creighton doing a good job of really packing the lane, making Nebraska shoot jump shots. There's another mid-range jump shot contested, and that allows Creighton to grab it and go the other direction.
Brooks, this is for 2, and Rivers the rebound. That seemed like a force, though.
And that's not typical for a McDermott coach team. That probably wasn't the shot he wanted.
And this will go the other way. Offensive foul on the push-off. So the Blue Jays will have it with 2:50 to play. It's a one-possession game. The drive, the kick out. Chapman playing big tonight. Huskers lead by 3. 2 friends and 2 doing this for a very worthy cause. Raising more than $5,000 alone. As Larry looks on, maybe tweeting as we speak.
Well, these 2 coaches, the state of Nebraska is lucky to have 2 guys like Coach McDermott and Coach Miles. And they've known each other a long time, and they're doing a lot of good today fighting cancer.
Here's Krecklow in the paint and the charge. Pitchford was there on the defensive end, and Krecklow ran into him.
Krecklow going to his left. It's called for the foul, but there's the 2 coaches, and these 2 have battled over the years, and they've raised a lot of money for cancer. And I think they were battling back and forth the last few days to see who's going to nose the other one out at the end. Who knows? Coach Miles might have put a little in himself just to make sure he won that one.
Terrence Smith. He'll drive. Petaway. 15 to shoot. Here's Smith from the corner for 3. And the rebound deflected by Pitchford, and Pitchford went over the back as Krecklow had position, and Pitchford picks up the foul. That's his second. And 6th team foul. State Farm halftime report coming up in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Again, a football bowl preview from our studio in Chicago. That's coming up at the half.
So another 3-point attempt from Nebraska. Just 3 of 13 in this game. Pitchford gets called over the back. His second foul. He goes to the bench. Creighton with another possession. Chance to tie it with a 3.
It's only a 7-0 run. Make it a 10-0 run. And we're tied as Dingman knocks down the 3.
Another great pass. Tremendous vision in the middle of the floor there for Chapman.
Terrific answer by the Blue Jays here the last several minutes. Moment ago, Nebraska led by 10. We're tied. Shields, no. Abraham the tip.
Moses Abraham to the offensive glass. And a putback after the miss from Shields. Nebraska needed that one after the 10-0 run from the Blue Jays.
Well, Siobhan Shields has yet to score tonight. Talked about him during the broadcast at the top, but there is Shields. 20 per game, scoreless so far tonight as we take a look at the Dingman 3.
What a nice pass by Chapman all the way across the floor to the corner. And Creighton just has shooters everywhere.
Krecklow knocks down the 3, and Creighton has the lead. Second 3 tonight from Krecklow.
Just puts so much pressure on a defense. You have guys that can knock down jumpers all over the floor, and a guy like Chapman who can find them.
Smith cut off by Zierden. Blue Jays struggle from beyond the arc the first half of this opening 20 minutes, but they have found the touch the last few minutes down the floor. Petaway, shot clock is under 10. Rivers, that's another deep 2. That one falls out. Hansen was there, but he could not retain possession. It'll stay with Nebraska, and the shot clock is off. 34.3 to play.
Coach McDermott kind of slapped his hands after that. He knew Creighton could have the last possession of the half. Instead, Nebraska should get the last possession of the half and the last shot and a chance to take the lead back.
Petaway, a game-high 12.
You will probably see Petaway dribble this thing out. He'll probably get a ball screen from Moses Abraham and try to make his way to the basket or find Siobhan Shields or Terrence Smith for a jump shot.
Petaway now with 8. And sure enough, you called it, Matt. Abraham the screen. Petaway for 3. And Nebraska, that's a 2. And the launch from three-quarters court is no good. It's a 2. And Nebraska on that Petaway jumper from inside the three-point line puts the Huskers on top by 1. Petaway's got 14. And Nebraska leads 28-27 at the break. We're at the half. And Nebraska behind Petaway as the seconds were winding down. He's got 14. 1-point game, Nebraska by 1.5.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Big Ten Conference and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Big Ten Conference.
Moments away from the second half in Lincoln, Nebraska. On top of Creighton by 28-27, the 48th all-time meeting between these two in-state rivals. Some exciting news around town. Go back to Friday, Matt, as Mike Riley was introduced as the Nebraska head football coach.
Well, a lot of excitement around the Nebraska fan base right now because of Mike Riley coming to Lincoln from Oregon State. And, you know, he's a guy that has a lot of credibility around the country. He's as nice of man as you will ever meet. And I think Sean Eichhorst and the athletic department in Nebraska did a tremendous job this week finding a guy that fits Nebraska and a guy that Nebraska fans hope can take them to the next level.
Nebraska with the ball as the second half is underway. Siobhan Shields scoreless in the first half.
I think on top of turning up the defensive intensity, Nebraska has to take better shots in this half. The last 5 minutes or so, Creighton able to go on a run because of those bad shots.
Meanwhile, Brooks could not corral the rebound. Rivers was there. And will stay with Tim Miles and the Huskers in a fresh 35. Talked about Tim Miles and tweeting earlier and Twitter, and sure enough at the half, this is what he said. When we win, when we went on the low, we'll get back to that as Pitchford knocks down the 2. Walter Pitchford now.
It's the second jump shot Pitchford has made off an inbounds.
Here's Hegner trying to answer. Can't hit the 3. Petaway the rebound.
It was an open 3, though. Good offense from Creighton. They hit 5 of 11 in the first 20 minutes.
Now Pitchford sets the moving screen, so we'll go back to Creighton. Get back to the tweet there from Tim Miles. We went on the low in scoring. We lost our defensive intensity, and they took advantage. We have to win this game with defense, he says at halftime.
Well, he's not happy with the 46% that Creighton was able to shoot in that first half. And you're okay if you're Coach Miles with giving up just 27 points. Creighton didn't shoot a free throw in the first half, but they shot 46%. You know he was talking to his guys at halftime about not giving up those open threes, which Creighton was able to knock down 5 of 11.
So Pitchford come out. He's got 3 fouls. So Moses Abraham back in for Nebraska. Chapman with 9 to lead the Bluejays.
He did about everything you could ask out of a point guard in the first half with 9 points and 4 rebounds and 3 assists. How about that line for a point guard?
Shot clock is at 7. Brooks will pop deep 3. Too strong, and Shields the rebound. As Shields eyes the floor all the way from end to end. Siobhan Shields and a foul.
A missed shot at one end. Siobhan Shields gets the defensive rebound, goes coast to coast, and is able to, as nobody picks up the ball for Creighton, he's able to go right down the right side of the floor, get the contact, extend Nebraska's lead, and a chance at a three-point play. Maybe that'll get Shields going. He's been so quiet on offense, but he's a guy that won't force shots, Corey. He's a guy that he doesn't care about his numbers. He might have to start here in the second half as Nebraska's offense is struggling a little bit down the stretch in the first half.
This is the free throw and the rebound to Hegner. And Tim Miles said about Shields earlier today that he's the same guy that if he misses 5 shots, he's got the same mannerisms, same emotions, as opposed if he makes all 5, you don't see a difference.
Just an even keel, high basketball IQ.
The lob! Chapman sets up Hansen.
Give Chapman another assist and a big dunk from Hansen.
He's got 4 assists to go with the 9 points and 4 rebounds. Here's Shields along the baseline, got position and scores. And now we're seeing some emotion out of Shields.
Backdoor cut from Shields on the baseline.
Skip pass to Hegner, and his pass in the corner, trying to set up Zierden, knocked out by Petaway.
See Chapman with a hesitation dribble at the top of the key. Nebraska with the double team there, he knows he can put it up near the rim, and Hansen can go grab it.
Zierden, and he was fouled by Pettaway, and Pettaway knew it. As he reached, tried to knock it away, and he picks up the personal foul. That's his first. And the second foul on Tim Miles and the Huskers are in the second half of play.
Zierden, a guy they would like to get going. Had a couple of looks at three in the first half, didn't make either one of them.
A quiet game against Tulsa. Hegner, another attempt. Can't hit the three, and Parker the rebound. Shields trying to take Chapman inside. Picks up the ball, now gets it back.
Shields with a size advantage on Chapman. Chapman obviously a little quicker. Can just try to keep Shields in front of him. And then you see the help. You see Dingman in the lane.
And the offensive foul. Chapman and Tim Miles arguing his case with Terry Oglesby to no avail.
Coach Miles didn't like that call, but you see the help with Dingman, both feet in the lane there, helping off of Benny Parker, as they're going to let Parker have open jumpers. That forces Shields to the right. Coach Miles didn't like the call. Thought Chapman's feet were still moving and that he wasn't set as there was contact.
Well, time has been called, and Pat Driscoll is at the scorer's table.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. We cannot have objects thrown onto the floor. Please refrain.
The public address announcer, you can hear that in the background, letting the fans know don't throw anything on the floor.
Please do not throw objects on the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, you never want to see that. We'll take one more look at this call that got Coach Miles so upset, and you know, you can kind of see that why he might be a little bit upset. That's one of his best offensive players, and doesn't get the benefit of the doubt there.
Crowd back into it. Chapman around Abraham, can't hit the finger roll, and it's knocked out. It'll be Nebraska ball.
Chapman got all the way into the rim, but giving up so much size in there. Wasn't able to score the ball. And it goes off of him out of bounds.
A smart take there from Chapman, too, as he brought Abraham out, try to use his speed, just couldn't finish inside.
Now those ball screens provide mismatches. The guy with the ball in his hands like Chapman, it's hard to stay in front of him if you're a guard. Abraham, no chance.
Pittsburgh on the bench with 3 fouls, so Abraham seeing some more minutes. And speaking of Abraham, he's going to be called for a foul as he set a moving screen.
So
that's his first.
The officials have spoken tonight. If you're going to set a screen out on the perimeter, you better be set. And Abraham sets it there, and he's fine. And there you can see him kind of moving down towards the lane. And a good call by the official there. He was not set.
So 14 fouls on Nebraska. There's a 1-point Nebraska lead at the half. Huskers by 5 with 15. Dingman can't hit. And it's knocked out. Last touch by Abraham. He was there to corral the rebound, but just off the fingertips. The Blue Jays will have it. 15:53 to play. Tim Miles, Huskers on top by 5. Discovered. Tough place for the opposing team to win. Student body here in Lincoln, a big reason why the Huskers have been successful here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. 18-1, Nebraska's home record entering play here tonight.
And they moved the students back behind the 2 benches, where at the old Devaney Center, the students were behind the baskets. Creighton trying to be just the second team to come into Pinnacle Bank Arena and beat the Huskers.
There's a special wrinkle, too, I think, Matt, of this rivalry. 2 teams that have terrific home atmospheres.
Big arenas with great home advantages because the fan bases are so supportive.
Hansen trying to back down Abraham with the right hand, scores. Nice move from the sophomore from Pierre, South Dakota, Zach Hansen.
Tough shot. Abraham is a big man down on the block. He made Hansen go over the top of him, and he made the right-handed jump hook.
Back to a three-point game. Parker. And now Petaway.
Nebraska, not a lot of movement on offense. Everybody kind of standing around.
Boy, Shields had position. Parker saw that. And the easy pass inside.
That's a really good look from Parker.
Zierden short on the three-point try. And the rebound comes out to Krecklow. Chapman for three. The loose ball came Creighton's way, and Chapman knocks down the three.
50-50 ball, and Creighton comes up with it, and they find one of their shooters. After a miss by Zierden, they knock a big three down.
He's got 12, a couple of threes. Now Petaway off the screen. Shields has been much more of a factor offensively here in the second half than he was in the opening 20 minutes. Against Zierden. Draws attention. And now Petaway in the paint with the right hand. And Krecklow the rebound.
A chance on the tip, too, for Petaway. Couldn't get that to fall.
Krecklow gets it back for the lead, knocks it down, and the Blue Jays are on top by one.
That's exactly how they want to play. It's a miss at one end. They push it. Dingman does a good job going to the baseline, drawing attention, kicking it back out. Great patience to find Krecklow for the three.
Krecklow's had some quiet offensive games recently for Creighton. He's got 9 tonight on 3 threes. Petaway forced it inside to Abraham, knocked away. 3-on-2 Blue Jays. Zierden off the fake, open look for three, and it's short.
Another great look for Zierden. He's 0 for 4. And the last 2 looks have been pretty good.
Got the brace on the right knee, injured in March last year.
You wonder if there might not be quite enough lift.
Parker open, and Nebraska answers.
Benny Parker worked on that jumper a lot in the offseason. Didn't make a three-pointer last season. Has 3 of them this year.
Dingman will drive. Rejected by Abraham. Loose in the corner. It'll stay Creighton. But Abraham, the block.
Good look from Parker to find Shields with the mismatch down on the block with Chapman. Just puts him on his top hip. Throw the lob up over the top and an easy bucket. But then Krecklow is able to step out and hit a three and give Creighton the lead at the time.
There is Parker a moment ago from the corner. And the Huskers lead by 2. Krecklow inside. Will Artino. Good look. Krecklow to Artino. A couple of experienced players working there.
Yeah, good ball movement, which allowed Artino to get Pitchford on his hip, and a nice lob into the middle.
First bucket for Artino. Petaway over Artino misses, and Krecklow the rebound. Outlet pass Dingman.
Good contest in there from Artino.
Brooks spins, kicks it out. Zierden again for 3. This one falls. Creighton's leading scorer entering play tonight. Zierden's been quiet, but buries the 3 there. And the Blue Jays lead by 3. 12:24 to play. It was a 1-point game of the half. Nebraska led. Now Creighton up by 3.
Able to clean it up.
The lead is 5. Shields mismatch against Artino. Spins the extra pass in the corner, but Smith could not fire. In the corner, this is Shields for 3. The rebound tapped around, saved by Milliken to Artino. Athletic play by Milliken under the basket.
And look how fast Creighton pushes the ball to the other end. They put so much pressure on your defense, especially after a make.
Brooks in traffic, hung on to the ball. Krecklow to Artino with the left hand. Can't hit. Brooks inside. Saves it to Milliken.
How about that save? Behind his back with the left.
Zierden in trouble. And he throws it away. It's loose. And a whistle and a foul will be called. And this would be on Creighton. So Nebraska will have it. Greg McDermott and his Blue Jays lead by 5. Basketball on BTN is presented by April Air. Feel good inside. And brought to you in part by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. 10:19 to play. entertaining game. Sloppy at times, but still back and forth we've gone. Right now, Creighton's on top of Nebraska 44-39. And the 48th all-time meeting between these two schools. They're separated by, what, about an hour?
Yeah, and obviously a lot of families involved in this one that have one on each side or a few on each side. So both fan bases right now, these last 10 minutes, that's bragging rights for another 12 months. And Creighton has had those bragging rights lately. So Husker fans really want to get this win. And you just feel in the building right now like Nebraska needs a momentum play. Like they need a dunk or back-to-back three, something to get this crowd into this game, which will give them a little bit of a jump start on the defensive side where they've really struggled.
Shields with 6 points, all here in the second half. Now Smith. Webster Petaway with 10. Is opposite the Rivers screen. Rivers with 4. Contact. Rolling. Good. And a foul.
What a big play at the end of the shot clock. Creighton does a great job for 30 seconds. Petaway gets a little bit of penetration going to the left. He's able to find Rivers right back in the middle of the court. David puts it down one time. Got contact. I believe they called a foul on Hansen. And a chance at a three-point play. Rivers has been big on offense tonight for Nebraska.
Hansen's got 2 fouls. Creighton now with 3 team fouls. So Rivers at the line for a three-point try. Misses it, but Webster the rebound. And the Huskers have a chance here. This for the tie from Petaway. Rivers gets it off the tap. Back to Petaway.
Momentum plays. Nebraska with a 4-point possession there as they get the offensive rebound off the missed free throw and a monster dunk from Petaway.
Now, you mentioned a moment ago Nebraska needs an impactful play. We'll see how this kind of goes here, but maybe that will be it, that Petaway dunk. And now Rivers picks up the foul about 35 feet from the basket.
Smart play by Chapman there. The missed three from Petaway, but the second offensive rebound of the possession by Nebraska. And Rivers finds Petaway on the cut. Look at that tomahawk dunk with the right hand.
Petaway, game-high 16. Chapman, baseline and scores. The senior answers, Austin Chapman.
Chapman, smart player. These Creighton players, a lot of them not a lot of experience. Chapman has some, but they know how to win. They're used to winning. They expect to win.
He's got 14. Rivers, no, but a blocking foul will be called on Hansen. And this will be his third, and David Rivers missed a free throw a moment ago. Will shoot 2.
Like Hansen was moving just a little bit. His body wasn't still, kind of leaned into David Rivers there, and he'll get a chance at a couple of free throws.
Yeah, Rivers this year at the free throw line now 9 of 11. Averaging 6 points per game. And he's now 0 for 2 tonight.
Back-to-back misses at the line. Don't think the players don't know how much this game means, too, to their fan bases.
Terrence Smith checks out. Tim Miles squatting near the Nebraska bench as Greg McDermott paces in front of his bench. Nebraska as a team is 1 of 5 of the free throw line. Creighton has yet to shoot a free throw in this game.
Creighton has been able to find shooters this entire half. They've had a load of good looks, and they've knocked down a bunch of them. Ball screen, a double ball screen, bring Dingman off of it, find Chapman on the left, and then set him one.
Chapman had Parker, now Petaway. Hansen out for the screen with 7 to shoot. Chapman spins, back out, Dingman from deep. And the rebound corralled by Webster.
Nebraska switched there and put Petaway on Chapman to try to put a little bit more size on Austin Chapman.
Petaway will drive. Webster for the lead. Can't hit the 3. The tap into the hands of Shields. He can't hit. Shields the rebound, but a whistle and a foul will be called on Nebraska.
Shields got the offensive rebound. He went back up with it, but then they get him on the second opportunity with the foul. There's Petaway from Rivers with a monster dunk.
Here we go, Huskers!
7:53 to play, second half. Creighton will have the ball, leading 46-44. Matt, let's go back to the last foul on Siobhan Shields.
Yeah, and I think a good call. Shields got the offensive rebound, goes up after it, and then fouled after not getting it to fall. And obviously Coach Miles didn't like the call much. Thought there was contact on the first shot from Shields.
Shields now with 2 fouls, 16 fouls on Nebraska.
Will be key. So every foul the rest of the way on the Huskers. Creighton will go to the line.
And Zierden bumped by Webster, and sure enough, this will be a 1-and-1 upcoming as Webster picks up the foul. And Isaiah Zierden will shoot. First free throw attempt of the night for Creighton will be upcoming here shortly.
That's a foul that'll just drive me crazy as a coach. That far from the basket. Wasn't a lot of contact, but chance for a couple of free points for Creighton.
Zierden, a 92% free throw shooter. And it's interesting, and you would think Creighton, Matt, with their perimeter game and not much going on in the interior offensively, yet they're averaging about 24 free throw attempts per game.
Well, they put a lot of pressure on you in transition. They grab misses and they push it. They grab it out of the net if you have a make. And they put a lot of pressure on you that way and get you to foul.
Bluejays back up by 4. Good screen from Rivers. Petaway can't hit the fadeaway, and Zierden muscles and grabs the rebound.
Tough shot by Petaway.
Chapman in the lane. Can't hit. Webster the rebound. Now let's see if Nebraska will push it.
Good job getting back by the Bluejays.
Shields along the baseline. Parker open for 3. Knocks down his second tonight. 1-point game.
Benny Parker stepping up for this Nebraska offense.
8 points in all for Benny Parker, the junior from Kansas City, Kansas.
This is where Creighton, with all of those plays Coach McDermott has in the half court, see if they can come up with an open shot.
Zierden answers his second 3 here in the half, and the Blue Jays leading score. Some big minutes here in the second half.
He thought he was fouled. He looked at the official, wanted a chance at a 4-point play.
That silences the crowd here momentarily. Petaway. Down to Parker. In the paint. Oh, he nearly walked, but he did unload the ball, and now a kick. And it will stay with Nebraska.
Good job here with the extra pass. Ty Webster finds Benny Parker, and Creighton not really worried about Parker out on the perimeter, but he knocks down another 3, and Zierden at the other end answers it to give Creighton a 4-point lead back.
Shot clock is at 15.
We've seen Nebraska score twice off inbounds plays under their basket. This one they just back it back out.
Petaway with 16 and 7 to shoot. Can't hit. Rivers tap, no. The tap into the hands of Zierden. A couple of good looks.
Good contest in there. Petaway misses the initial shot. Looked like Rivers had a good chance at the putback, but couldn't get it to fall.
Chapman around Parker. Bricklow
Dingman
lobs it for Artino, and he wasn't ready. Parker in transition to Petaway.
Parker had 2 options there. Ty Webster on the left, or the All-American candidate on the left there, Petaway, and he gave it to Petaway, and he dunked it with 2 hands.
Creighton calls it time. Blue Jays have it. 2-point game, 5:15 to play inside a fired-up Pinnacle 4.
49 here at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. And Benny Parker comes up with a steal, and good spacing here for Nebraska on the break. He had Webster on his right. He goes to Petaway on the left. Petaway does a good job gathering himself here with the hard dribble, goes off two hands, goes up with power and dunks it with two. Yep. That's a good job by Parker knowing who was on each side. You want to give that ball to Petaway in that circumstance.
Oh, man, that's now 12 turnovers tonight for Creighton. That has resulted into 17 points for Nebraska off those turnovers. Blue Jays ball out of the timeout. Creighton by 2. To go.
Mismatch down below now. Webster got caught on Artino.
Chapman will pop from deep. Can't hit the three. Rivers and Dingman battle for the rebound, and Dingman's going to get called for the foul.
Two Huskers going up after it. Petaway and Rivers. And the long rebound off the long miss from Chapman. And Dingman goes up after it. They get him with the foul.
That's his first, and now 5 team fouls on Creighton. And substitutions, Brooks and Hansen return for the Blue Jays. Artino and Kreklo will sit. Artino did not start tonight. Change for Greg McDermott. Zach Hansen, the sophomore from South Dakota, his first career start here tonight. Webster in the paint. Tap. Zierden has it for the Blue Jays.
Good job by Webster getting into the middle of the lane, but couldn't get the shot to fall.
Zierden got the pass from Chapman. Knocks down another three. Isaiah Zierden's got 11. 3 threes.
The late close from Webster, and Zierden has been big here in the second half for the Blue Jays.
Petaway trying to answer. Can't, and Chapman the rebound. He is fouled, and he comes down hard. And Shields picks up the foul. That's his third.
And that's going to be free throws at the other end and a chance for Creighton to push their lead to 7 if they could hit a couple of free throws.
Earlier in this game, when speaking of Zierden, Matt, you mentioned that at times it didn't look like he had the true lift on his shots. Are you seeing that more now, though, as this game is prolonged?
Well, he's obviously getting comfortable. You know, early when he struggled and he missed a couple, pretty badly from 3, I wondered if maybe he had a little tweak in that knee and wasn't able to get the lift that he needed. The last 3, he's looked better, able to gather himself, and he has drilled some big shots here on the road.
1-1 for Chapman, and he misses it. A 90% free throw shooter.
Unlikely miss there, and Nebraska dodges a bullet.
Shields off the crossover. He is fouled. So we'll step aside. Under 4 to play. Creighton by 5. 3:56 to play, second half in Lincoln. Creighton up 54-49. Again, following us, stay tuned for Big Ten football and beyond bowl selection special. Ohio State in the Final Four is the 4th seed. Take on Alabama, the 1 seed in the Sugar Bowl. It'll be Oregon and Florida State in the other semifinal. Analysis of all 10 Big Ten bowl games, including Nebraska playing in the Holiday Bowl on December 27th against USC in San Diego.
How about those matchups in the first ever college football playoff? Offensive firepower players in that game with Oregon and Florida State, and then the power of Alabama and Urban Meyer on the other sideline with Ohio State. 2 great games.
A statement Ohio State made last night. Big Ten title game, thumping Wisconsin. $16 fouls now on Creighton.
Every possession now becomes big. Nebraska down 5. Under 4 minutes to go. You need to get a quality shot on every possession if you're Nebraska.
Here's Smith around Zierden. And Parker was out of bounds.
It's the second time tonight Parker has received a pass from the baseline and he's had a foot out of bounds. Those are tough turnovers.
And the right call. Right foot, sure enough, out of bounds. Now 10 turnovers.
Creighton is just knocking down shots here tonight. 10 threes they've made, which puts a lot of pressure on your defense out on the perimeter.
Off the crossover, Chapman. Hansen wasn't there, ready to receive, and it was knocked out and last touched by Nebraska. Now the Nebraska fans disagree, but remember, 3 minutes to play, so you cannot review this play. And this play happened with 2 minutes or less. Sure enough, you can review that play, but now with 3 minutes to go.
Just 6 seconds on the shot clock, so see what Coach McDermott comes up to try to get a good shot.
Artino with 5, with the left hand, and scores. The lob to Artino was begging for the ball, and the senior extends the lead to 7, and Nebraska takes time with 2:51 to play.
Big bucket by Artino. They just kind of built a wall in the middle of the lane, threw a lob in the middle to him. Did a little pump fake and a step through and was able to get the bucket, and a big one for the Blue Jays.
So as Creighton talks it over, the Blue Jays were down by 10. It was 24-14 with 5:28 to go. In the first half, Blue Jays ended the half with a 13-4 run. And now Artino and company have upped the lead to 7 with 2:51 to play.
Nebraska was able to fight back and get it to a 1-point game here late. But Creighton then answered with a 3 from Zierden, a 2 from Artino. And the Huskers need a bucket now.
Look at that right there. Bench points, 26-6. Zierden, Artino on the bench tonight. Krecklow on the bench tonight have all come up big.
And the main thing for Nebraska has been the 2 guys that we highlighted. Pettaway has 18 points, but just 7 of 18 shooting. And Shields just 3 of 10 from the field with 6 points.
And Pitchford's been quiet. His struggles continue shooting the basketball. He only has 2 points. Shields draws the foul. And this will be on Artino.
Shields able to get the angle there, just kind of lean in and get the contact and draw the foul.
So 4 fouls on Artino.
You're struggling on the offensive end. Smart by Shields to go to the basket, try to get himself to the free throw line here. Watch a couple go in. Try to find that stroke.
Shields splits 2 free throws. And the lead is 6. Swing pass to Dingman. Oh, he thought about it.
Yeah, that was an open look, but they're trying to burn some clock now before they get that look.
Better look inside. Artino couldn't hit the layup. Brooks set that up well. Artino no finish. Pettaway. Can he answer?
A missed layup at one end by Artino, and in transition, Pettaway with a big 3 to get it to a 1-possession game.
21 for Pettaway. Chapman hits. The senior responds.
What a shot up over the top of Pitchford.
Chapman's got 16 to lead Creighton. Pettaway 21 to lead Nebraska. Pettaway will pop again. Short, the long rebound. Shields had a chance. Instead, numbers for Creighton. And Chapman wisely brings it back out as the seconds tick away.
5-point lead and a chance to add to it. They can get it down to just a minute to go in this ball game. Nebraska has to get a stop.
Chapman to Brooks with 10 to Artino. This layup he hits. Artino's got 8. And it's a 7-point Blue Jay lead with 62 seconds to play. And Nebraska calls time.
It's the tremendous spacing from Creighton that makes it so difficult to defend them in the half court. There was a missed layup by Artino. Nebraska grabbed the miss And Shields able to push the ball up the court and find Petaway trailing the play. He hits a big three that makes it a 3-point game. But at the other end, it was the senior Chapman who hits a big jumper to answer that over the top of Pitchford. And then Artino, the garbage man down there, just under the basket, missed the last one, used the left there from the right side to make sure he was going to get that one to fall.
Artino, you go back to 2013, 2014. He began the season starting for Creighton. Rogge was coming off the bench, but then after a trip to California for holiday tournament, Greg McDermott said, we need to get some more scoring right away. So Rogge was in the lineup. Artino went to the bench. Different role this year. 4 guys gone. Artino starting every game until tonight.
Let's see what Coach Miles drew up in the timeout. Try to get a good look.
And Parker was out of bounds again.
Oh my.
Third time tonight. Parker has received a pass, and he's been out of bounds. And Miles letting his team know to foul.
I don't think I've ever seen that from a player 3 times in one game, maybe not even twice.
Brooks having trouble, and Zierden is down in the lane, and a foul called. And this will be on Petaway.
Petaway thought there was a push-off by Zierden. Zierden still down on the floor, and he'll be shooting free throws at the other end.
Let's take a look at the foul called.
Well, Petaway expected them to call a foul on Zierden there with the push-off. Zierden looked like he hit a wet spot on the floor.
It's now 9 team fouls, so this is a 1-and-1 for Isaiah Zierden. 2 of 2 at the line tonight, make it 3 of 3. Zierden 92% from the line coming in. It's the largest lead for Creighton tonight. And now it's 9. Here's Parker. Petaway.
Nebraska needs a quick 3.
Parker drives. A tough force with the left hand, and all blue inside for the rebound. And Chapman has it. He is fouled. And the Creighton Bluejays are 41 seconds away from becoming the second team to beat Tim Miles inside this arena. Michigan did so last year, and now Greg McDermott and the Bluejays on the verge of doing it themselves a season later.
And what a big win this would be for Creighton to come on the road, take away all the emotions of the in-state game. But just to come on the road and play and win against a team that made the NCAA tournament a year ago, that started this season in the rankings, this would be a big one for the Bluejays.
And another solid non-conference win for the Big East Conference, as Terrence Smith will take the easy 2, and Nebraska calls time. It's 63-55 with 34.5 to play. You know, the Big East Conference has had some terrific non-conference wins entering play today. The Big East in non-conference games winning roughly 81% of their games. St. John's beat Syracuse yesterday. It was Xavier yesterday over Alabama. You go back over Thanksgiving. Butler beat North Carolina. Villanova has beaten VCU, and Michigan. Creighton beat Oklahoma not long ago in Omaha. Providence has had some nice wins over Florida State and Notre Dame. So, you know, the Big East Conference, this would also be, yes, a big lift for Creighton. But this conference, not just the pushover that many thought it would be entering the season.
That's right, and for Creighton and all that they lost off of last year's team, the best player in the country in Doug McDermott, and the other seniors that were in that starting lineup, and they replaced them with seniors that hadn't really played much in their career, but watched winning. They knew how to win. And Coach McDermott talked before the game about the culture that he feels they have in that locker room. And they came down the road today, just an hour from their campus, and they look like they're going to take one from Nebraska here on the road.
So 34.5 to play. Nebraska leads this all-time series 25-22, but the Blue Jays have won the last 3 entering this one, can make it 4 straight. As they lead by 8 with Just over 30 seconds to play. Trent Petaway, 21 points. Siobhan Shields has 7, and all 7 here in the second half.
So Nebraska's going to be denying the inbounds pass, obviously looking for that quick steal.
And some good free throw shooters. Dingman in trouble, and now Chapman receives it, and he is fouled.
There's a big collision over in front of the Nebraska bench. Coach Miles was asking for, I guess, a potential foul on Creighton as the ball was inbounded to Chapman, and he's going to have a chance at a couple of free throws.
Now 2 the rest of the way. Foul was on Webster. Petaway 8 of 20 tonight from the field, 4 of 11 from beyond the arc.
Bluejays, Austin Chapman shooting 2.
And as we look at the collision,
Petaway didn't see the screen coming and just ran over Krecklow over in front of the Nebraska bench.
so Chapman shooting 2.
How good has he been tonight?
Now 18 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Creighton's lone returning starter from a year ago. Tonight, Chapman making his 80th consecutive start, dating back to his sophomore year.
He's a great basketball player. He has the ball in his hands so much, keeps his dribble alive, puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and he played as well as you could ask him to play here tonight.
Had a big game in the upset win over Oklahoma and has performed very well here tonight. Pitchford, his 3 doesn't go, and Brooks the rebound. Shot clock is off, and the Blue Jays will dribble out the remaining 20 seconds and become the second team to defeat Nebraska on its own home floor. As Greg McDermott looks on, he will shake hands with his good friend Tim Miles, and what a win for Creighton as the Blue Jays make it 4 straight over their rivals, winning by 10 tonight, 65-55.
Nebraska returns to Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Huge win by the Creighton Blue Jays, and Tim Miles and this fan base really wanted this one tonight here at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and I think a lot of people shocked that Creighton was able to come in and get this win.
That's it from Lincoln. Final score, Creighton 65, Nebraska 55. For Matt Davis and Corey Probus saying so long, this has been a presentation of the Big Ten Network. Good night from Lincoln.